Okay, so for this video, we are going to discuss the linear combination that we want to compare. All right, the linear combination that involve 2x and also the x1 plus 2. Okay, so as what I mentioned before, actually for this whole chapter, right, they like to test students on this. Okay, because when you are writing out your variable as 2x, or when you're writing out your variable as x1 plus x2, right, actually the variance that you get will be different. And of course, after the calculation, right, your probability will be different as well. Okay, so when you are dealing with one particular question, you have to be very clear that this question, does it belong to 2x or does it belong to x1 plus x2? All right. Okay, so how to decide it, generally you need to look at you have to look at the keyword, or maybe you have to look at the sentence that they use in a particular question. All right. Like when they are talking about 2x, that means it is a multiple of a single observation of x. That means you have only one x, but you multiply the value of x maybe 2 times or 3 times or 4 times. So that's why we call it as multiple of a single x. So as an example, if you're having 2x here, that means when you get the value of x, then you multiply with 2. Usually the keyword that you can see here is, you will see the word twice, or maybe you will see the word double, okay, or maybe you will see the word 2 times and so on. All right, so all these are the words belongs to the multiple one, okay, multiple with a multiple of x. So as an example here is we throw the dice one, and the number on which the die lands is double. So the keyword here is double and denoted by 2x. Okay, so when are we going to use x1 plus x2? So for x1 plus x2, generally they are talking about the sum of two independent observation of x. Okay, so that means you throw the die for 2 times, twice, that means 2 times. And we want to know the total of the numbers which the die length is denoted by x1 plus x2. So this one you should tell student, you will see the word sum, the total, okay, usually in the question. All right, so this is how you differentiate it. So you have to really read the question very carefully. Okay, all right, to decide whether you should use 2x or should you use x1 plus x2. Okay, so we are having 3 examples here, 19, 20, and also 21. All right. Okay, so for example 19, I will discuss 19 with you because it covers both cases. Then example 20 and 21, maybe you can try yourself later. Okay, right. So let's look for example 19 first. Okay, so they want you to distinguish between the sum and also the multiple of normal variables. All right, so you're having small, you're having large, and then these are the mean and variance given. And after that, you will see the keyword also in the question, which is normally distributed. Okay, so for me, I might want to make small drinks, the small milliliter, the small bottle X, the large bottle is Y. Okay, all right. So if I want to answer the question right, so maybe I probably need to read the question first and see what kind of sentence or what kind of keyword are they using. Okay, all right. So maybe I'll scroll down this one first. Okay, so now they said a small bottle of each size is selected at random. So a bottle of each size. So that means you select one small bottle and also one large bottle. Okay, what they want you to find? Find the probability. So the probability here that the large bottle, so the large bottle is Y, contains less than, so less than means smaller, 4 times the amount in the same small bottle. So how many small bottle you have? You have only one small bottle, right? And the keyword 4 times tells you that when you write out, it should be 4x. It is not x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4. Understand? Okay, so this one should be 4x. So they want you to calculate the probability for y smaller than 4x. Okay, so again, as what I mentioned before, you cannot find the probability by having y smaller than 4x. So you have to take y minus 4x and you have than 0. That means you need to find the mean and variance for y minus 4x here. Okay, so let us start. When you want to get the y minus 4x, they are still normally distributed because both y and x are normally distributed. How to get the mean? So to get the mean, it should be y minus 4 times of x. Okay, so 1012 minus 4 times of 252, and you should get the mean, which is equal 4. And also the variance. So for the variance now, you need to take the variance of y, which is 25, plus. Okay, not minus, it should be a plus because for variance you have only positive, no negative. And then when you want to take out the 4 from the variance, you have to square the 4, so it becomes 4 squared. And then x. So what is the x? Variance for x is a 4. Okay, so if you calculate the value here, you should get 89. Okay, so maybe for me, I will highlight the important part for you here. This one is a plus, not a minus. And this one, you need to square it up. 4, you have to square it. So this one is square. Okay, all right. Then now, only you start to calculate the probability. So what is the probability for y smaller than 4x? So it is actually equals to y minus 4x smaller than 0, because y minus 4x smaller than 0, the y minus 4x is the normal distributed, so I have to change it become z, smaller than 0 minus the mean divided by standard deviation, 89. Alright, so what do you have is z smaller than negative 0.424. And please continue to write out the proper steps to get an answer. Should be 0.3358. This is for part 1 when you are having the linear combination of y minus 4x. It is 4 times of the small bottle. Alright, so 4 times of the small bottle, that's why you have the 4x there. Okay, so answer should be 0.3358. So please take note on the part here, variance, there's no negative sign. And when you want to pull out the 4 from the variance, you have to square it. Okay, so this is the part that you need to take note. Okay, all right. Then now, how about we continue to part number 2? Okay, so later after you answer question number 2, part number 2, please compare these two solutions and see what's the difference between them. All right, okay, so for part number 2, you're having now 1 large bottle and 4 small bottles. So can you see the difference or not? Just now you only select 1 small bottle, 1 large and 1 small. But now you are taking 1 large and 4 small bottles. They want you to find the probability again. So when you see the word probability means P, that the amount in the large bottle means Y, okay, less than, smaller than. See the word total or not? Total amount, okay, so total amount in the 4 small bottles. So total amount in the 4 small bottles means they have to take x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4. So this is for total. And then just now is for 4 times. So some students again, as what I said, they feel lazy to write out x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4. Therefore, they still write it out as 4x. You still can write it out as 4x in the exam. They won't penalize any marks. Just that when you want to calculate the probability, calculate the variance, make sure that you add all the variance and there's no square for the 4. Understand what I said now? Okay, so for me, because I want you all to understand all the concept better, so I will write out the long one. Okay, so instead of 4x, I will write it out as x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4. Okay, because in marking schema, they also write out 4x1. They allow you to write out 4x, but when you calculate the variance, you have to be aware of it. Because you need to know that this is for plus x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4. Okay, all right, so again, you cannot calculate the probability like this, right? So if you move everything over, you need to find the mean and variance for y minus x1 minus x2 minus x3 and minus x4. Okay, so they are all still normally distributed. Okay, so to calculate the mean, you should take 1012 minus 252 minus 252 minus 252 minus 252. So again, I lazy lah. So I write out 4 times of 252. Okay, so it is still equals to 4. Alright, so I simplify my steps here. Become 4 times 252. But if you want to write it up in long, it should be minus 4, 252 minus 252 minus 252 minus 252 for 4 times. Okay, so you get a 4 here. And then for the variance, you will have 25, then plus. Okay, so the variance for x1 should be 4. So when you write it out, it should be 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. Alright, so in the marking scheme, or maybe when we feel lazy, you can still write it out as plus 4 times of variance 4, and it is equals to 41. So please take note that the 4 here, there's no square. So there's a difference between this part and also the previous part. This one is no squared one. No square. Can see the difference? Okay, so why there's no square? Because of when you want to find the variance, you add all the variance together. You are not taking out the number. Right, so this is the difference. So please make sure you take note on this. Okay, this is the main thing that I want you to realize it. Okay, please be aware of this because a lot of students, they will do careless mistake or maybe they will feel confused when you answer the question. Okay, and after that, again, they want to calculate the probability for y smaller than y1 plus y2 plus y3 plus y4. Oh, sorry, x4. Okay, then you will have y minus x1 minus x2 minus x3 minus x4 smaller than 0. Okay, so you want to change the whole thing become z. So z smaller than 0 minus 4 divided by standard deviation. Okay, so you have z smaller than a particular value, which is negative 0.625. Okay, so again, please complete the steps for finding out the probability. You should get an answer which is 0.266. Okay, so this particular example to me, right, is a very important example so that because you can see the difference between the multiples and also the total or the. All right, so again, as what I said, you have to look at the question very carefully. What kind of sentence are they using? So like for this example, they are using the total. The word total sum tells you that it should be plus. Okay, and then when you see the word like 2 times, 4 times, or whatsoever, right? So this one they tell you is multiply. Multiply the x with the number. Okay, all right, so if you want, you can make a few big stars here for this example. Example 19. So that in the future, when you want to do revision or what, right? You have to come back to this example and have a look. Okay, and compare them. All right. So this is what I want to emphasize for this whole topic here. Okay. Okay, so if let's say there's no problem, then I will want you to try example 20 on your own. Example 20 actually is not so easy also, but it will be quite good if you can try it out yourself. Wait. Okay, so for example 20, let me have a look. Okay, part 1, they want you to find the probability that the group chosen randomly will prick under the combined weight of 2 climbers. Okay, so I think quite easy, not very hard. Maybe you can try first. Okay, answer for part 1. The probability that you get should be 0.0349. Okay, and after that, for part number 2, the mean that you get. So maybe I shouldn't write up like this. I should tell you that the mean that you get should be 99.45. or you should put it as 99.5. And then they're asking for variance, right? So the variance final answer should be 113. Okay, and then for part number 3, the answer is 0.787, 8788, or you can write as 0.887. Alright, so these 3 parts, please make sure you go and try it first. So mainly is to test you whether you understand or not. This question belongs to sum or belongs to multiple. Okay, so have a try. If you have any question, please let me know then. Alright, then let's continue to the next example. Let's have a look for example 21. Okay, so I will roughly guide you how to do it first, and then after that you complete it yourself also. Okay, so the weekly distance in kilometer driven by Mr. Perry has a normal distribution with this mean and also standard deviation. Independently for Mrs. Perry, drive normal distribution, mean this one, and also the standard deviation this. Okay, so first part, they want you to find the probability that, okay, maybe for Mr. Perry, I use X. Then for Mrs. Perry, I use Y. Okay, Mr. Perry, so Mr. Perry means X, drive more than, so more than 5 times. So the keyword here is times, 5 times, as far as Mrs. Perry, so greater than 5Y. Okay, so that means what? That means you need to calculate the mean and variance first before you calculate the probability. Okay, so this part is not hard. Okay, so I'll just tell you the final answer for the probability, which is 0.8232. Okay, so they want to calculate this probability and the answer is 0.8232. Okay, then now we continue to part number 2. They want to find the mean and standard deviation of the total, okay, total of the weekly distance in miles, okay, driven by Mr. and Mrs. Perry. Use approximation of 8 kilometers miles. So there are 2 ways for you to do it. You can find out the mean and variance first. Can you do it or cannot? So you have to write an equation. You have to write out the equation so that you will have everything in miles. So this one is in km, kilometer. All right. So how can I change it become mile? Is you need to multiply the kilometer with 5/8. Understand what I say or not? This one, okay, so maybe you can make a small note here. This is in kilometer, and this one is in mile. You need to write out the equation in miles first before you can calculate the variance and also the. Okay, all right, so now I want to calculate the mean for the total. So to calculate the mean for total, it will be mean E and then 5/8 x plus y. All right, so I'm having 5/8, and then I have EX plus EY. Okay, so what is EX? The mean of X. So the mean of X should be 512. The mean of Y should be 89. So continue from here, you will get the answer, which is 376. Okay, so this one should be no problem. Then let's continue to variance. All right, so if I want to find out the variance of 5/8 x plus y. So when you want to take the 5/8 from the variance, you have to square it. And then only you will have variance x plus variance y. And the whole thing multiply with 5 squared over 8 squared. Okay, so what is the variance x that you have? Okay, so for the variance x that you have, it should be 62 squared. because the standard deviation is 62, right? So the variance should be 62 square. And then for variance of y, it should be 7.4 square. And if you continue from there, you'll get 1520. Okay, correct to 3 significant figure. And if you want to calculate the standard deviation, then you need to take the square root of the original answer lah. So if you take the square root of the original answer, I think you should get 39. Okay, so this is the correct answer here for mean and also the variance. Okay, so for this example, what I need to discuss with you is because some students will actually ask, can I find out the mean and variance in kilometer first? Then after that, I straight away convert that. Okay, so the answer is cannot, because of when you want to calculate the variance, right? You have to convert the equation first. Then only you can calculate the variance. If not, the answer that you get eventually will not be the same. Okay, so because of they want you to focus on the amount. All right, so before you want to get the variance in terms of mile, you have to change the equation become in the unit of mile first. You cannot use the formula for km and then find the answer only you convert it, it is wrong. You have to convert it at the beginning of your calculation, then only you'll get the same answer or the correct answer. Okay, so for part 2, it is a bit tricky. That's why I discuss it with you. So you cannot do something like, oh, I take variance x plus y first, okay, and then my final answer, I convert it. Because when you convert, you only multiply with 5 over 8, which is wrong. You should actually multiply with 5 squared over 8 squared. Okay? Alright, so I hope that you're aware of this also. Okay, because this is one of our past year questions also. Some feel confusing. That's why we put it here to discuss. Okay, alright, so after this video, generally we already completed the whole chapter for chapter 2. So you will see that actually chapter 2, they didn't cover a lot of things. They only covered the linear combination where you need to know how to calculate the mean and variance correctly for different combination of linear function. And after that, you need to know how to apply it to find the probability. That's it. Okay, just that they like to trick you by using the sum and multiple. So please make sure that you're aware of that, the sum and multiple. Okay, so this is what we have for chapter 2. It's how to say, it looks like very long. Actually, the concept that we learn is not a lot. You just need to make sure that you are aware of all the small things, okay, in the question, in the sentence. All right, okay, so for the next video, we can start chapter 3. Chapter 3, actually, we talk about the continuous random variable, where you need to use integration technique, all right, to answer the question. So maybe before you view the video for chapter 3, right, maybe you can go and have a simple revision on your AS integration. Then for your A2 integration, I believe that most of you maybe haven't covered the A2 integration topic yet. So maybe you can apply the knowledge that you learned in A2, then come back to our chapter 3 also. Our chapter 3 actually involve both AS and A2 integration. All right, so but for our example in the notes, we only focus on AS example only. Most of the example, we focus only on AS. All right, but A2 also involved actually in the exam style question. Okay, so we will see this in the next video.